we're live. Okay. I'm just waiting for it to engage, folks. That's all. Uh, these streams, yeah, I think on Royce's, he can time when he comes on to the microsecond. And the system I'm using, usually it takes a few seconds to gear in. So that's why you're seeing me kind of hum and ha here. Welcome to everybody. A big thank you to a couple of folks who have started off the stream before I ever got up here. First of all, Oberheim, who gave us a super thanks. Thank you, Brandon, so much. He says, I really think you ought to consider doing a video stream about Little River Band. Unlike Foreigner, they don't have the blessing from any original. And I've seen a couple of streams dealing with that, and that could be a future stream. I'd like to connect it with other acts so that that might get a bigger audience, right? Instead of a microcosm. I love the Little River Band. I bought their first three albums when they came out, just like I bought Christopher Cross's. I was into kind of what a lot of people call yacht rock. I almost hate that term, but the more Pablo Cruz sound was happening in those days. So that's a great suggestion. The fact that it's on the stream, it'll reach my notes, Brandon. But thank you for your support. And then just before I got up on stream, Ben Scheidegger with a $2 super thanks. We always call these the power of two. You know, we've gotten some very large super thanks on the channel.
Oh my goodness, as I'm typing.
Oh my goodness.
Here we go.
All right. I'll get to your $2 super thanks here in a minute, but this bears a little explaining, folks. Irgesplitten Ladenbuma, aka Gear Jam, longtime supporter of this channel. Gear Jam goes back a ways. Just commenting on my videos, always very astute comments and everything. A guy who just stuck in my mind. I just saw that. Oh, Brett, thank you. Now, Brett, your name looks familiar, and just a $3 super thanks. I think you've given before, haven't you? But if you haven't, this is like
he sure has.
Oh, he has. Oh, and he gave me a little moving picture, and basically, here's what he's telling me, folks. Oh, settle down, the devil horn conspiracist. In the spirit of Brett Glasgow, I was like, or Glasso, I should say. Hang in there, baby. All right. But I do want to comment on this, and then I'm going to get back. Let me make sure. I'll just handle this real quick. Ben just says on his $2 super thanks, which thank you. I was talking about how we get all of these uh, very nice super thanks from time to time. On our last stream, you'll know in a minute, I'm going to do a shout out, and then we're going to get right to the show, folks. And I have a special announcement for next Sunday's stream. A promise I made to you folks on my last stream on Thursday night. Okay, so I'll whet your appetite with that. But Ben Scheidegger just says right here, we are the tribe. And why I feel these $2 super thanks are so wonderful. $3 super thanks right there. The two of you, that's like giving a $5 super thanks, right? Okay. I so appreciate it. I appreciate the two as much as $100. All right. And the people who can and do sometimes give those larger super thanks know this about me. All right. They feel the same way. They are excited when they see you guys being able to give. And so if you feel like you want to support the channel, what we're doing here, all right, it all goes in to the continuance and the betterment of this channel, everything that you give, all right? Then, but you're going, I can't give $50 or $20, man, that's even too rich for me. Five would be, hey, $2? I thank you just as much. Your shout out goes up just as equally against all of those folks. And if you can't give a damn dime, I appreciate you showing up, folks. All right, that's the bottom line here. It's those who are going to engage in this conversation tonight. Now, keep this also in mind too. When I do shout these folks out, it's just my way of saying
Oh
thank
my
you. I
goodness,
see that, Michael. You're going to figure quite Michael Bosley's going to figure quite prominently in tonight's show. I'll get to you in a second, Michael. Very. I penned one of his. Actually, I penned two of his comments. The second one I penned took over the pinned comment that he left before on my latest video. My latest video, by the way, is dealing with the fact that Foreigner has announced that they're not retiring. Now, Foreigner has been on, and then I want to get to these super things, but just to whet your appetite about what we're talking about, they've been on a farewell tour for years now, folks, and they keep extending, they keep adding dates, right? We've been teased that uh, uh, good Lord, I'm having a brain meltdown right now. Kelly Hansen has been hinting that he's at the end of his tenure. And yet at the same time, I would handle an interview with Kelly Hansen on one video, then I'd handle an interview with Jeff Pilson. All right, Rockin' Robin. Yeah, thank you, lass. I appreciate it. The power of two. See, this is how it works, folks. For the vast majority of those who do support the channel financially, this is this we get these more than anything else, and they're just as special. And I'll get to these as I go down. Oh my goodness, Deuce is wild in with a 5. Thank you, Deuce. Kimberly and I were just talking about you, Storm Cop, aka James Christian. There's a handful of you. Doc Insomnia. Um, Rockin' Robin Bird occasionally comes in early. There's a bunch of you early birds who start this conversation. You know, I usually put out my thumbnail the day before, at least, right? Sometimes 2 days before. And when I get it out 2 days before, even, I'll have 2 days worth of conversation kind of screenshot because every day it cleans the new screen, it clears it, right? And I can't believe the amount. And then these people that I just mentioned, and a few more that's just not coming to my head, like Royce, I just saw his name, right? These people support me so much. They're the ones that are there. You know, if this was the Dallas Cowboys, they'd be the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. They'd be the top echelon of what they do, right? I saw one from Christian just before I got up. We're at 16 thumbs up. We're only 4 away, right? These people keep the energy and the growth. And then that frees me up to talk about what I'm talking about, right? Okay, so let me get these other ones real quick. Irgert Splitten, he bought 5. That's like a $25 super thanks. Thank you so much, Gear Jam. And I do want to say, I wish that when these fine folks do this, and I do appreciate it. You know, we've had a lot of new um, uh, members, I should say, right? And what it does is it spits out the offer. It's all in the control of the YouTube algorithm. I wish we could just say first come, first serve, and whoever clicks on it first, hey, to me, that's the way I think is fair, right? But we're stuck with the way YouTube handles it. So if you get this offer, click on it because I have tons of videos over there that are not available, not over there, it's over here, but they are membership videos, right? And I am directing, as a matter of fact, I plan on shooting my next members video tomorrow. Okay. So that should be out tomorrow evening or the next day. All right. And this will be a video. It's not available to my general um, uh, channel. And the reason is I go into that way I can talk about exactly what I want to talk about. I don't have to worry about whether there would be any views for that particular subject, or even interest. I can get into different aspects. I like to attack a subject from a different angle often. That's my whole thing. I like to see it from a different view, looking down on things and what could have been, and you'll get those kind of videos from me. So if you get that chance, do that. I thank everybody who buys these, because you know what? You're introducing people. Not all of them stay. You know, we got a ton of them. Not all of them stay, but I got to tell you, a whole lot more of you stayed than I could have possibly dreamed. The channel is growing, the membership is growing. We've only just begun, baby. This channel really has taken off in a completely different direction since February 15th of this year, and officially January 18th was my first stream, but that was just setting things up. February 15th was the beginning of the fourth season here on the bottom line, and I wanted to really kick this channel into gear. You guys are supporting me. I thank you for your faith in me. I'll do my best not to let you down. Brett Glasso, the $3 super thanks I already mentioned. Michael Boswell with the wonderful power of two. It's only rock and roll, says Michael, but I like it. Yeah, me too, Michael. And Michael and I don't always agree. Matter of fact, we're going to have a discussion tonight where Michael kind of takes the opposite viewpoint. And my wife, we've been talking, boy, we kind of got it into a heated discussion today, didn't we, babe?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we're both opinionated. All right. My advice to every man who's worth his salt on the planet is marry a woman that is smart enough to 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 make you rethink your whole line of thought, right? And we never, not ever, but we often don't agree 100% on a lot of things. I like certain artists she doesn't like. She loves certain artists that, well, I kind of like, but I'm not that big into them. But she just loves them, right? She likes a more. She has a more pop slash country background, and that's what she likes. I have a more rock and roll background, who also likes good pop. Okay, and that's where, and we can both teach. She's the one that turned me on to George Strait, right? I like him. I don't know why I like him, but I like him. And so I can learn, she can learn. And what we're going to be talking about tonight, I'm going to be bringing up one of Michael's comments because it all has to do with Foreigner. Rockin' Robin Bird with another power of two. Thank you, darling. And what does she have here? Yeah, fight, fight, fight. I love it. Okay, great. Deuce is Wild in with the $5 super thanks. He says, when the wheels of a car are off, it's no longer a car. Oh, I love where he's going. It's no longer a car. When the original members of a legacy band are gone, it's no longer that band. Give it up, Foreigner. All right. And for the most part, for the vast majority of that statement, 98% of it, I agree with. After talking with my wife, after talking with with Michael online on my latest video. By the way, my latest video, it's not like a trillion people have gone out to see it, right? Uh, that's one of the things that I do on this channel. I do videos that I want to talk about. And I kind of thought the video would have done a little bit better than it did. And I'll tell you why. Because it was attached to a recent announcement that, hey, we're not retiring, we're not going anywhere. And I gave my thoughts on it, and I've talked about what it could mean and how long and what shenanigans are involved. And we're going to talk about that tonight, and and who could have been involved with whatever decisions, right? But then we're also going to be talking about the idea of what a tribute band is, because often many of us right here in the comments will go, Foreigner ain't nothing but a tribute band. And I used to say that very early in my channel. And then I started realizing um, to call them a tribute band is giving them too much credit. Tribute bands do not call themselves Foreigner, and they don't lean on the name of Foreigner. They lean on their musical skills. We're going to talk about some of the most famous tribute bands, Foreigner tribute bands. Then we're going to talk about what everybody makes in the pie and why this bothers me. I told you, Michael, in your comment, this is only part of a greater issue that bothers me, a greater issue that I talk about a lot on this channel tonight. All right, buddy? But I always, Michael takes me to task every time, and I appreciate it, as does my lovely wife, right? We were all talking, I wanted to make sure, okay, we were all talking about how uh, uh, Kimberly and I, what would she's the one that came up with the question. She go, "What would you do?" She knows I'm a musician. What would you have done, Michael, if Foreigner had contacted you for some strange reason to play guitar for them or bass guitar, and you had a chance to beat out uh, Jeff Pilson and become the bassist for Foreigner? And I told her, well, first of all, they're not Foreigners. She goes, no, but what would you do? And she said, I'd take it in a heartbeat. I'd take that gig. And she goes, I got children, I got grandchildren, right? And that's part of my problem. All right. But I understand it. And I also understand. Then we started talking about whether Foreigner. Oh my goodness. I saw that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
45
And it's good to see you in the comments. 45 RPM always has some good things to say. Let me check and see what he has to say here. Uh, he says, I find 1981 to be a great year for music. Hence, Foreigner 4 is great by my taste, and it is, and it is. Uh, as a matter of fact, we're going to be talking about a 1996 recording by Foreigner that has just been released, and it's connected to Foreigner being connected to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? Uh, I did want to say this. I have an announcement. This was set up on my last stream last Thursday. All right, tons of you were giving me comments. I got emails. Michael, are you going to cover the Black Sabbath show? And you guys were so kind with super thanks. We're going to take a portion of that super thanks. We've already done so. So you have paid me to do this. And I told you on Thursday that next Sunday on my stream, we will be streaming a special stream for the Black Sabbath show. Now, I know Royce is doing that tonight. So, and Royce and I haven't been talking. If Royce didn't make all of my stream, he probably didn't even know I was planning on doing that. I didn't know he was planning on doing it until I saw his notification last night. I think what he's going to be doing, what we're going to be discussing on the panel, is what you need to know in order to see this, or what you need to know. Maybe he's even going to cover getting the actual tickets to be there in person. All I can say is, due to you kind folks, uh, Kimberly and I purchased our online tickets. All right. We didn't get the one with the t shirt. I know one of you guys said that you got the one with the t shirt. I've looked at all the system of requirements. All of my systems should be able to show the show. So I'll be watching that, Kimberly and I both, on Saturday. I'll give you my immediate reactions. If you guys are watching it, you can give your 2 cents worth. This ought to be a ton of fun, folks. When Royce and I first heard there was going to be, I'm going to have to get down here, huh?
Just came in. Oh, Michael, thank you so
Yes,
much.
he was. I just saw that. Michael Boswell says Jeff Pilson was originally a member of Doctrine. I didn't know he was. And I found that out about a month ago. I go, oh, okay, well, he's got some street cred. And a lot of replacement
Oh,
members usually do. They've got to. And while I'm here, because I got to get to some super thanks here before we get going full bore, I find 1981 to be a great year for music, hence the foreigner. Okay, I did cover 45's $5. I just want to make sure I got it. I thought I was behind a couple. Let me see if I made sure this last one, Deuces Wild, when the wheels. Okay, yes, I got you off. Good.
oh
I
man.
do this. I have to shut down, folks. These people are, like I said, are supporting the show. You've even financed next Sunday's show. All right. I appreciate it so much. And I will watch it. I'll give my reaction. Tonight, I'm not sure what we're going to be covering over at Royce, but right after this stream, be sure to get on over there. Okay. Because uh, tonight, what we're talking about is a band and live concerts on this channel with Foreigner and what they have to offer today. Then, right after, we're going to be talking about Black Sabbath, who is, what? I was thinking about this, Royce. What do you think about this? Um, you've got the Beatles, but you don't have John Lennon, right? You've got Led Zeppelin, but you don't have Bonzo. You've got Pink Floyd, but you don't have Richard Wright or Sid Barrett. You've got Queen, but you don't have Freddie Mercury, right? You have Deep Purple, but you don't have John Lord. You've got a ton of bands out there, legendary, that even if they got back together with 2 out of 4 members, the crowds are salivating for this so much that they could pretty much name their price, especially when we're talking about the bands and the level of bands that I just got through talking about. We have, yes, there's no Chris Squire, there's no Alan White, right? Um, and yet, the more I thought about this, and when Royce and I first heard this, we didn't know if this was going to be a tour. Because remember, Royce, Ozzy kept flip flopping back and forth. I want a tour. Sharon goes, no, you can't. And but I want a show with several shows for a couple of nights. No, you can't. And finally, one show, which is, it looks like this is going to be it. But how many bands of this stature can claim? This is why I wasn't going to pay to see it online. I was going to wait for the movie. There's going to be a movie out, right? Or a film on this. And the more I thought about it, I go, no, to see him live, probably 5 minutes off, or 5 seconds off. And it's the closest. I never got to see Black Sabbath because the only Black Sabbath I wanted to see was with Ozzy. And so we're going to be doing all of that. But think about that. That might whet your appetite because follow me on over here for a second, folks. Go to my post page. And I just did 2 days ago a poll. About 850, not about 857 of you voted on it. All right. So not one of my largest polls, but not a small one. I've done polls with 300-400 respondees. So this is getting up there. Anything that's starting to touch 1,000 is a significant poll. And you get a good curve after 850 plus people, right? Here's the question I pose to you. How interested are you in Black Sabbath's upcoming Back to the Beginning reunion show? All right. And you have these responses. I'll be there to see The Price of Darkness. It was supposed to be The Prince of Darkness. Sorry about that, guys. I'll be there to see The Prince of Darkness live, baby. Or you had the choice. I've already bought my pay-per-view ticket. I can't wait. Or I'm interested in the cheaper ticket. They can keep the t-shirt. You can get the ticket for about $30, right? Or you can go, what is it, 60, 65, close to 70. But it's the same ticket, but you get a t-shirt, right? And a couple of you already told me you were going to get it. So that was an option. Or the final one, the band is dead with their best days behind them. Retire, Ozzy. All right. In last place was I'll be there to see The Price of darkness live, baby. So 4% of you, that's four out of every 100. So you've got four times eight, 32. So about 35 of you are actually going, oh, I'm so jealous. What an opportunity, right? So out of my viewers, I know about 35 of you are claiming anyway to be going. You've got your tickets, you've got a seat. Now, in second to last place was I've already bought my pay per view ticket. I can't wait, right? 5% of you. So what? That's nudging up 37 to 40 ish people. Uh, 9% of you voted, I'm interested in the cheaper ticket. They can keep the t-shirt. I was one of those, right? So a total of 18% of you registered here, probably closer to 9% because the next one is 81. So I would say 19% of you are interested in this. My viewers are interested in this. 81% of you say the band is dead with their best days behind them. Retire Ozzy. And this to me, if they do this right, could be Black Sabbath's version of Celebration Day. So keep that in mind. All right. Now, I also wanted to go over and give some super thanks real quick. I'll go over a little tonight after the hour, right? I'll go until about 6:20. And just to give me enough time to squeeze over there because we're covering so much tonight. I can't believe how much there is to cover on the channel tonight around that. Not just Foreigner, but with what's going on with Black Sabbath, right? All right. So, first of all, I always give a shout out for those on my last stream that gave us super thanks. In other words, on my next stream, all you kind folks who have been giving us super thanks tonight will get a verbal shout out from me. Now, these folks have already been visually shouted out in my latest video, every single one of these folks. So, this is their second shout out. And I do this again just to say thank you. All right. And uh, Ben Scheidegger started the shift off that night with a $2 power of two. Super thanks. Irger Splitten Loudenboomer, aka uh, Gear Jam, came in with another power of two. Super thanks. Deuces Wild followed that immediately with a $2 super thanks. All right, we were already up to $6 within a minute and a half. You know, Rockin' Robin Bird came in with a $5 super thanks. Bill Hawkins then just stunned us with a $50 super thanks. Thank you so much, Bill. But evidently, not to be outdone, our most reverential James Stormcop 55 did $100 super thanks. Thank you, James. My oldest and dearest patron for this channel. He is the oldest guy to really lay bottom money down. And all I can do is say, I will do my best not to disappoint your belief in me. Thank you so much, James. Deuces Wild with a $5 super thanks. And he has just done a $2 super thanks. And then he followed that up with another $5 super thanks. I mean, he didn't stop. Ben Scheidecker came in again with a $10 super thanks. Natalie Carly of Savoca, a $5 super thanks. By the way, Natalie, if you're out in the comments tonight, or if you see this later. Is Natalie in the comments, baby?
No, I don't see her. Right
Okay.
now.
But I just wanted to let you know, Kimberly said it was so nice to get to know you.
Oh,
She
yeah.
thought you were a sweetheart. She showed me some of your comments. So I got to know you belatedly. That's the weakness of my channel, is that I'm up here opening my mouth, and Kimberly is the one, but I do get updated. We have entire breakdowns on what's getting going and everything. So, and by the way, regarding Stormcop's wonderful super thanks, I do want to read an email I got from James because he's got an interesting idea. All right. James, be on the lookout if he doesn't want me to read this live. I won't provide any doxing material. I won't show the email, James, but let me know. I know you're out there. Uh, because he's got an idea. So look for that and let me know as soon as you see it, baby. Okay.
Oh, for what now?
For James to let me know if he thinks it's all right if I read a portion of his email.
Oh, okay.
On the air.
For that, yeah.
Okay. Uh, James is always, I'm going to tell you, there is a core of you that understand this concept of the tribe. All right. The tribe, what is this? This forum. This is where I get a chance to talk to you. This is me playing the role of tribe master for those of my critics out there that can't get the moniker right. Mm. Anyway, um, so this is where the only power I have over the tribe in general is that I get to speak first. It kind of has to work that way, right? I am first speaker. I am first opinionator. And then you guys go to town. Sometimes you tear me a new asshole, tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Sometimes 50% of you might even agree with me. And every once in a while, I get a whole whopping 95% of you agreeing with me. So that's what this whole tribe is about. See, we come from all over the world, folks. A lot of the people that I have just read are from other countries. I'm in the United States West Coast, the Big Valley, Central Valley. All right. I guess it's more Central California than Northern California, but Northern California will do in a pinch, right? And I have people, we have tribal members in New Zealand, Australia, Germany, France, England, Ireland, Scotland, Japan, all right? Hawaii, east and west coast of the United States, Canada, Mexico, Central America, South America. All right. Some of my very earliest subscribers came from Argentina. Did you know that? Right when I first started the show. All right. So we come from all different cultures. We have all different beliefs. We all think differently politically. Yeah, babe.
Storm said it's fine.
Thank you, James.
He said just make sure you use his proper title, Village Idiot. And I said, absolutely not. It's more like Tribal Hero. Gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
No way.
You know, I have this thing called the Mount Rock Olympus, the top bands that rule, you'd be in Mount Rock Olympus of tribal chieftains for sure, brother. There's no doubt about it, as several others would. Okay. So anyway, let me get past this, and so we can get talking about the subject at hand. Uh, right after Natalie, of course, gave us a wonderful $5 super thanks. So thank you, sweetie. I appreciate it. Irga Splitten, but Laden Boomer back in. All right, with a $2 super thanks. Joseph Blue, thank you, Joseph. Joseph has been real good at commenting on my videos as well. All right, I feel like I'm starting to get to know him. Even got a chance to share the panel with him one time on Royce. Look forward to doing so again. Ben Scheidegger again with another $2 super thanks. And Gear Jam, Irger Splitten Loudenbomer. Followed that with a $2 super thanks. And Rockin' Robin Bird finished the evening with a $3 super thanks. So I appreciate all of that. And with all of that, we're going to use a portion of that to really present you a super show next Sunday. All right. The channel just went up another 100. Folks, we're at 45.4 thousand subscribers and well on our way to hitting 45.5. That's an exciting, one of the many numbers you have to pass because that'll get us to halfway to 46. And of course, as you know, when we turned it wasn't that long ago that we got to 45,000 even, right? So we're already 400 plus subscribers in a very short time, despite the fact that people keep telling me that you're being unsubscribed. I see it. I see it go down. I go to my analytics. I'll be at, let's just say the 100 mark number is 45, 412, say, right? All of a sudden I'll go back, I'm doing other channel business. Of course, that's the first page that flops up, and you go, 406, right? Where did six? And then you look at your latest video, nobody's quit, nobody unsubscribed, or maybe only one or two, but it doesn't explain the six. And you guys are complaining right and left. Here's what you do. uh, Make sure that when you do see one of my videos, be sure, even if you're not interested in it, click it on, make sure you're subscribed, right? And make sure you've got that notification bell, because that's the second biggest complaint I'm getting. People saying, I never am notified for your live streams, and so I never know when they're going live or what. I get all kinds of comments on the replay. I missed this. I wasn't notified, right? So make sure your notifications are on. I'm trying to stream here. I'll make it simple to you. This is kind of the official plan, is to stream on Sundays at 5 and Wednesdays at 5, if I can get it down to there. If for any reason I can't stream on Wednesdays, I may do an occasional Thursday night stream. All right. So I'm trying to get that, but just mark me up at 5 o'clock PST. So adjust your time zone accordingly. But it's 5 o'clock in the evening where I am when I start on both streams, right? And make sure you're notified. And so even if you're not notified, you'll know, oh, Michael should be on right now, and you can click into me. All right. We're still working out the kinks on this whole system. So all I can say, as I always say, is tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a marketer, but hang up right after, because otherwise he'll have everything you have ever owned, including the underwear you're in right now. All right. Merch, just to let you know, sorry, at the beginning of the stream, I keep forgetting to input the merch store, right? The tribal store. It's real easy to access it, folks. We had tons, and this is only, Kimberly and I have decided to call this. And if you've ordered this thing, understand this product's going to get much better. But you guys wanted merch. I want merch, right? So we put out what we consider to be uh, a limited edition prototype tribal mug. All right. And in order to get your copy, all you have to do is click on that title for tonight's stream, right? There you go. And it'll click you over to the description box. Click the link there, the tribal store, go to the browser you want. And there you'll be able to see. I still say her iPad is haunted. Yeah, thank you. All right. So now this is going to appear backwards, folks, because I'm transmitting backwards. We still haven't worked out that kink. All right. But I'll translate for you. Here it is. It says, "We are the tribe." Okay. And what you have to represent the tribe, if you notice that, is you've got people of different sizes, different shapes, perhaps different ages. You know, you got the one young person there in the foreground that seems to have an up to date kind of almost uh, Afro kind of do, right? It represents everybody on the planet. In other words, what better thing to say, we are the tribe, right? And then if you go to that, you on the other side of the mug, uh, like any good mug, uh, you get my mug. Okay. Now, this is the icon that started the channel. I've already given you a story on this icon the last time I talked about this. I think that was on my next stream. I'll talk about it. What I do want, the reason I'm going into this is I do want to give you guys a kind of heads up about ordering this in black. Do not do it. That's what you'll get. All right. You don't get the tribe there. I didn't want this available in black, but evidently with my supplier, that's just, the option that you get right away. The only thing with the black mug is you're just going to get my mug, and you won't get the Michael Noland, the bottom line, or yeah, the bottom line, right? So what I like about this, now it also comes in pastel blue, which is kind of cool, right? Right there, we are the tribe again, and the same design on the other side, right there. My mug, Michael Noland, the bottom line. Now, I am working on a design to kill this one, right? But this is what I could come up in the moment for your demands, right? And it's a way to support the channel financially and actually get something back physically for your troubles, right? So I always like to supply that. I always like to give you the best show I can possibly give in return for just your viewership alone. And for those who go the extra distance, we're just trying to give value for your money, folks. That's all we're doing here. All right. Somehow I got turned off here. Got to get back to what's going on over this way. Okay. So, all right. That gets us to foreign. All right. Like I said, I just did a video on the fact that Foreigner has now. Baby, could you get me my lip balm over there? I'm a
I
little
sure
dry.
can.
Yeah. Thank you, darling.
One
Um, they've announced that they're not retiring. I told you that I was a little bit surprised that the video didn't do quite that well. But when you look at a poll, thank you, darling.
You're welcome.
You know, I knew there was a reason I married her, folks. Okay, so my latest poll states this: Foreigner has just announced that they aren't retiring after years of being on a farewell tour. Which of the following statements best describes your feelings on the rock band Foreigner? All right. Uh, the first area or choice you could vote for is I'm all for it. I love their music and look forward to seeing them. Second response, I might go see them for the music, but it wouldn't be Foreigner, right? Third response is I'm a Foreigner fan, but that's not Foreigner. No, thank you. And the fourth response, I've never been a Foreigner fan. So really, this is a non issue for me. Now, I want to get back to that fourth response here in a minute. But here's the results: 5% of you thought you're all for it. You're going to go see them. 5% of 1,000 votes. All right, so that's got to be five for that's 50 of you right there. That yeah, I'm going to go see them. All right, out of this poll, 7% of you said I might go see them, but it won't be Foreigner. How astute of you! And if indeed you want to do that, more power to you, right? Because you're of a minority. You are of the informed. Kimberly and I had this big uh, discussion where she says, "Hey, it's buyer beware." She has no problem with Foreigner being out right now. If she was a musician and they had offered her the gig, she would have taken it. All right, she said that quite clearly, right? And I said, yeah, but what about the fans that think you're one of the original members? She said, hey, yeah, I'm telling you, I married a cutthroat of a woman. I love that. She said, hey, buyer beware, buyer beware, right? And then I said, yeah, but is there no responsibility? After all, Congress has even looked into the necessity of making it legislation that there are disclaimers, at least on posters and tickets leading up to shows. Something like the performers of tonight's Foreigner show are not members of the original band, right? Or something like that. Uh, and she said, no, we don't even need that kind of legislation. Let the buyer beware. And you know what? I've said it before. Planet Earth is a jungle. You're not given any guarantees when you're born on this planet, right? Or where you're born on this planet, or how well off your family will be, or what your physical condition will be, right? There's no guarantees that you'll make it to 80 or 30, or for that matter, 10. It's a jungle, right? And so buyer beware. Listen, that's like my motto, right? I've been stung and everything. So my question tonight isn't so much um, am I against Kelly Hansen And let's straighten that out a little bit. And crowd for making a living. No, I'm not. If I had been given that decision, I'd like to think I would have turned it down. The way I look at it, see, I've got a brand. It's called Michael Noland, The Bottom Line. Now, what if we've talked about the Guess Who and how they finally, a lot of similar shenanigans going on with that. An ex-member, barely, uh, has control of the name, hiring who's winding up on stage with one member on the stage actually representing the original Guess Who, and later not even doing that, right? And passing themselves off as foreigner or the Guess Who. But I think the same argument can be made for foreigner, right? So when you think of along those lines, I have no problem with anybody making a living and eking out whatever living they can do. I have a problem with people who are not informed. All right. So that I said 5% and 7%. Uh, it was 59% of you that said, I'm a foreigner fan, but that's not foreigner. No, thank you. All right. Now, my audience is a very well informed audience. Some of you know more about Foreigner than I ever dreamed to know, right? I was more of a casual fan, had a few of their best albums, but I loved them, played them a lot. I was a fan of Foreigner, right? And you need to keep that in mind. But it's this fourth response and this buyer beware, this cutthroat. Yes, I got kids to raise. You offer me that gig, I'll take it in a heartbeat, right? And me thinking I'd like to see myself as turning that down, but money's money, honey. And what would I do? Yeah. Kimberly and I were just in a heated discussion, and she said something that was so close to one of my favorite movies. That thing you do when the young, good-looking guitarist, who is kind of the leader of the band, is having an argument with the other band, and of course, Tom Hanks' characters. What was it, Mr. White? Yeah. And he says, I guess I'm alone in my principles. And he storms off. And the joking kind of guitarist character in the movie goes, oh, there he goes, off to his room to write his latest hit, Alone in My Principles, right? So I don't want to come off self righteous uh, and thinking, but think about my brand. What if somebody got a hold of my channel and took control of its name, its the rights, the monies it would make, and everything else? All right, a silent evil doer did that to me, and then they went out and found a clone of me. You know, uh, PB Patrick over on PB said he could have swore he saw me in a record store once. I was nowhere near there. So they find my doppelganger. And he comes up. They even train him to, hey, he likes to use his hands when he talks. And often he uses words like thinking, saying, just saying, instead of thinking, saying. He kind of slurs, and you don't know if he's intelligent or just a stupid ass. That's how you got to do this character. They coach him, and he gets up there, and to every one of you, it looks like me. As a matter of fact, it is me. I am no, I'm not, I wouldn't do that to you. But here's the thing: there is no way in hell that fake faux pas Michael Noland on the new bottom line, or the bottom line that you never saw end. You just all of a sudden, I just looked maybe a little bit better one day, right? They got a slightly better looking guy to do it, right? So, but I'm going to tell you one thing. And I'm using this as an analogy with a foreigner, and while we're at it, the Guess Who. That channel would not be me. That channel wouldn't be able to offer you shit if you're used to getting shit from me. All right. There's only one Michael Noland, and that guy, no matter how much he is coached and his vocal inflections And uh, they go over their scripts before. That would be their first mistake because I don't use a script. But and then they get the mannerisms down. Oh, here's what Michael would say, right? See, I don't have to think about it in a heartbeat. I know what Michael would say, and I say it. You pretty much got the straight poop from me every single time I open up my mouth. I just open and insert foot. I've said it before, right? But what I'm saying is that would no more be me than this in uh, current lineup is Foreigner, in my view. Now, I want it clear. I am absolutely a Foreigner fan. I love their albums. I love the original collection of songs. Absolutely. But I don't recognize Foreigner really starting from 2004 when Jeff Pilson joined. But I think Lou Graham was still with the band there for another year because I think it was Kelly who joined in 2005. And of course, they did do one album, right? Called Can't Slow Down in 2009. I haven't done an album since then. Can't Slow Down sounds like we built this city only made to sound like Foreigner, you know, very glitzy Hollywood sound, not quite Foreigner. See, Foreigner could do a great pop song and have all the tricks of the trade, but this is all tricks, no trade to me. So, and I didn't buy it at the time. I have since listened to it and I don't like it. Okay. And that is the one album this incarnation has ever done. But what did they do right after? They have released one compilation album after another, one live compilation album after another, one uh, live and original cut album after another, frantically trying to tie the current lineup to the legacy of Foreigner. This has been quite purposeful, in my opinion. All right. Now, before I get any further, I promised I would be uh, talking a little bit about what Michael Boswell wrote here, because it's always good to get the other side of the story. Kimberly tonight doesn't agree with 100% of what I'm talking about now, right? And I would imagine neither does Michael Boswell. But Michael, I wanted to read your comment here. But before I do that, I want to get on with what I was talking about with James. So I've got you marked there. Let me get up here. Uh, now, James, this is a bit of tribal business, so bear with me here. We're going to go a little longer tonight anyway. Now, I did have that up here. Yeah, here we go. James sent me an email. Now, this tribe is like family in many ways, isn't it? We've made a lot of friends here. We care for each other, right? We've agreed to disagree on the hardships of the world and everything like that. Leave that at the doorstep, and when we come and join together as a tribe, uh, uh, the arguments pretty much stay within the realms of classic rock, as we're having tonight, as you're going to tell, right? Disagreements are handled that way. But we all care for each other a whole lot. And of course, earlier this year, James was in a couple of tornadoes. One did extensive damage to his property. We were worried about him. Nobody knew what was happening until he could get back online. He told us. Then we heard another series of storms that touched him a bit lighter, right? And then we heard he was off, and we heard there were some storms north. He lives in southern Mississippi, and most of those storms kind of went to the north. I guess he missed them, but then he got sick, and people start worrying. My screensaver, Sonoma County, folks, right there. That's where I was born, or not born, but raised. I was born in North Carolina, Waynesville, North Carolina, but I was raised in Santa Rosa, California, and that's Sonoma County. That's just outside Santa Rosa. Anyway, uh, so a lot of people were asking, have you heard from Storm Cop and other people? This hadn't happened just with Storm Cop, but Storm Cop left me an email, and I wanted to go over it. He says, Mike, I was sitting here and randomly, I can honestly say that word, James, thinking of some things that might be useful to us in the tribe. I love it already. All right. I know that last week or so when I was sick, the only person who could actually check on me was you. You were the only person I had given my address to. You, Divining Dragon, Deuces Wild were concerned about me and more, by the
Yeah.
way, James. Several brought up concerns, but those are the ones you remember. And yes, they were two of them. But if it hadn't been for the fact that you could reach out to me, how would you, or in turn, the tribe, have known if something even worse had happened to me? No one in the tribe has my contact information for each other, with the exception of waiting until our next live stream. To me, this is a huge problem, but easily fixed. He says, how about you and our esteemed tribal queen, the lovely Kimberly, work on a master list comprised of all tribal elders and chieftains, including but not limited to mailing addresses, contact phone numbers, real names, etc. He goes on into there. Uh, he goes, um, where does it go? It goes without saying that this information would be available only to verified members of the tribe and never during an open forum or live stream. During the last stream, Divining Dragon wanted my information so he could get in touch with me when he came through Mississippi, since he is on a summer break with his students. Of course, he's talking about Christian, who is a teacher. God, right next to motherhood, that's got to be the most honorable profession on the planet. Um, let's see. Uh, anyway, um, so he had, well, we can't really do it there and everything. So I just wanted to give you a kind of an update on that. First of all, James, I have never collected email addresses for my channel at all, mainly because I didn't want to use email as a way to uh, ever generate a list or to benefit by doing anything like that. So I've always eschewed from that. However, I wouldn't be against something like this. And on a later stream, probably on Wednesday, I think we could talk about this a little more openly, because I go longer on those nights. But I did want to acknowledge I like the idea. Kimberly likes the idea. We'd have to be very careful. Nobody gets doxxed. It would have to be a system, and if anybody has any suggestions, here's my suggestion to you. Click on my link. I'm not going to give my email address here, but you do it like you normally would. I get all my YouTube emails through my email, but I do not ever use my email to answer your comments. I go straight to the video and I respond to you. Right? I never use my mail for any of that type of stuff. But if you title it Tribal Communication with both words capitalized, every letter in it, Tribal Communication, triple exclamation point. I'll see that and I'll be watching for that. And if anybody has any ideas on how we could better handle that, let's go for it. I wouldn't be again that at all, because anything that would benefit the tribe, but not, I just want to make sure that we are absolutely safe with each other's information, right? And yes, it is frustrating when we can't get a hold of each other. And I wouldn't have been able to get a hold of James if James hadn't, prior to that, uh, gave me emails, and I've been doing off the link there, and he's been sending it with even a newer address now. All right. So thank you for the suggestion, James. We're going to carry that on a night we can handle it. I like it. I just want us to be careful. All right. Okay, so to Michael Boswell's comment here, it's the one that's pinned on my new video called Foreigners. Jeff Pilson announces that Foreigner isn't retiring. All right. And he said, I'm curious if the brand comes out with good new music in the original style, what others would say. All right. Now that's interesting. I am thinking the same kind of resistance as continuing the brand without the music. All right. I am thinking that the possibility exists that Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons could write new songs for the Avatar show. Okay, and if that's the way, again, I say this, Michael, and I agree with you on your earlier comment. It's not there's no skin off my nose how people choose to spend their money. If you find this band entertaining, uh, I would only hope that you know who you're going to see. First of all, that's my main concern is when this band is selling tickets to the uninitiated, and then you wind up at a cocktail party, somebody and yes, I just saw a foreigner, not in my face, not at my cocktail party. I'd have to go. No, you didn't. Foreigner's dead. Foreigner isn't around anymore. I mean, that's my belief, Michael. But a lot of people say yes, but it's the brand. And that's kind of the whole idea of my last video is uh, has Foreigner become a brand more than a rock band? Okay, think about that. All right. So let me get back over here. Um, so with all these compilation albums, right, and everything going on with that, they really haven't provided us with new material. And for me, Michael, that is a key thing. All right. You've got to have something to offer. See, we call them rock artists. All right. So where is your creation? Right. If you were a painter, I'd like to see your new paintings. I don't want to see your old paintings. I might go see that them in a gallery if they were making the rounds and everything. But I'd be a lot more interested in you as a painter if you had something new, right? Same thing goes with rock bands as far as that goes. As a matter of fact, um, the fact that they don't have a single member that's constantly touring. We don't know what's happening with Lou Graham. He's talking like, I'll finish out the year. Okay. But with this new announcement, Lou Graham's making statements that he never made before. He was against this whole idea, this whole lineup. But now he's more than willing uh, to not only show up for those shows, perform for those shows, but do so and backing the whole move, which is interesting because a mere 2 years later or earlier, he wasn't making those kind of comments. Now, so to me, that makes them at best a tribute band. All right. And in the future, Pilsen is talking about, he says, yeah, we were surprised as golly gee willikers when we actually saw Luis Maldonado sing these songs. Who would have thought? What do you mean, who would have thought? You've had him in the band since 2021. You didn't know what you were getting? I think you knew what you were getting. I think Jeff Pilson knew what he was getting. I think Mick Jones knew what he was getting. And I think they saw the future. They could see a shelf life on Kelly Hansen. And this guy was set aside and brought in as a multi instrumentalist and backing vocalist. You know what he's been doing for the last year? Re recording Foreigner songs in Spanish. Okay. There's your new material.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Okay. Beatles did that once and they said no more. Right. They did their things in German. Now, if they want to do this as a side project and everything for their Hispanic audience, that's fine. That's fine. If there's a draw for that, that's more than fine with me. All right, I have no problem with that. But where's the new material? 2009. We're talking 16 years, and the material you gave us, in my opinion, wasn't very good. So why would I continue to follow you when I guess even if you made an album magically appear out of the air here in 2025, you would be a band that puts out an album every 16 years? Not very interested in that at all. But let's see. I wanted to get over to a couple of these things. Oh, they did release a new single. It's going to go on another compilation album, folks, um, of an old recording from 1996 called Turning Back the Time. Now, I've been telling you that these members have been setting themselves up. This is what they do. They might make a song or two, and then they include those two songs, and then they lean on the back for the rest of the compilation album on the old Foreigner hits, or they do a live album, and it's new versions of the old Foreigner hits for the most part, with one or two, deviances off to the side that might actually showcase them and their uh, supposed talent, right? So they've redone this. This was in honor of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, honoring them. So much honor going around, it sickens me. But I've been listening to the song. I like it. I do like it. Sounds great. It's a song that was written by another guy that I forget his name, and Mick Jones and Lou Gramm. I think this may be the song that they had some legal contentions about. But it's out. It sounds like Foreigner. Man, if it had been released in 1996, it stood a good chance of becoming another top tenor for him, I think. Certainly sounds as good as any top 10 Foreigner song, right? But guess what they did? Again, they went in and they had some of the new members adding vocals uh, and instruments and
Oh
everything,
my goodness,
right?
Michael
I
Buck
see that.
just came in. Oh, Michael, again.
Let
Thank
me
you
check this
so
out.
much. Oh,
Oh, we're still good friends, Michael. Thank you so
oh my
much.
goodness,
Says,
yeah.
but Michael, the singles and the album did chart on Billboard. Right. And if that is what, and thank you for your $5, Michael. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. And if that does it for you, don't forget, I'm saying that's free and clear. That's okay with me tonight. All right. I'm not
Thank you
saying
so
that.
much. Oh,
I'm just giving my opinion on how I view them. Okay, all right, and congratulations to them. My problem with the whole album though was I knew it wasn't Foreigner in my head, Michael. See, and so I wasn't interested in it. I didn't even listen to it at the time. I was listening. Yeah, in 2000, I was listening to a harder edge type of music anyway at that point, and still very busy in my last incarnation of my music career, right? So I didn't have time for what I thought were pretenders to the throne. Okay, is my honest opinion about it. It is way too glossed of an album. A lot of original critics would have said Foreigner was always way too gloss to begin with, but I liked that gloss. But I only so much glaze should go on a donut, right? This is over glazed. This is like you take a bite of this donut, you'll never get to the donut part. You'll just be spitting out sugar for an eternity. But a good point. I'm glad you brought it up. Keep me honest. But I'm trying to find out where they had. Yeah. So there's a ton of, if I'm correct, and Foreigner is truly a tribute band, and the Guess Who, formerly, as they were coming off, were tribute bands. Uh, then the only reason they're making the money they're making is because they get to
oh
use
my
that title.
goodness sakes.
Oh
My
boy, I'm
God,
not going to get to my
amen.
stuff tonight. You guys keeping me
Oh,
so
thank
busy.
you so
Thank
much,
you so
Storm
much.
Cop.
Oh,
Oh my
Storm Cop,
goodness.
$20.
Oh,
Thank you,
Storm is so
brother.
generous.
Says
Thank you
thank you
so
for
much.
bringing that to the attention of the tribe. One more thing. I'm working on a few things to help Brother Royce in the house
Oh,
out to get his numbers up. We leave no member of the tribe behind. We certainly don't,
that's
brother.
right.
And I'm glad you brought up Royce. I'll be on there. What time is it? I've got to shut down here real quick. I got to kind of wrap things up, and we'll continue this discussion in the future. All right. We just had so much to deal with tonight, but I do want to give it a nice wrap up.
Oh, thank you so
I'll be
much.
over at Royce tonight. Royce is the brother channel to
Oh
this
my
channel,
goodness.
and
Yes,
if you support
Scheidegger.
Royce, you
Amen.
support me.
I'm
I mean,
keeping it the super
anything you do for Royce goes to him.
Oh,
It's his
thank you
channel and
so
all
much,
that. I
Ben.
see that. I'll get to,
Oh,
but I'm always glad for Royce.
oh, goodness.
Royce is glad for me. We're friends, right? And he is a tribal chieftain, right? One of the
Yes.
tip top tribal chieftains. Ben Scheidegger, $5. I love you, Ben.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much,
Do you
Ben.
ever listen to? The rock band Camel. I did early. I've got to give them another listen to. Trying to remember. Yeah, nothing's coming that's foaming up to my mouth. But I did listen to them. I suggest, oh, good. Uh, Nimrod, The Possession, The White Rider to the Tribe Moon, Madness is their best album, in my opinion. All right, Ben, I will give that a look. All right. That'll go into my notes. Of course, any of these go into my uh, um, channel analytics, and I always overlook your comments and everything. And this is where I get a lot of the impetus for my videos and change of direction, my approaches and everything is by talking to you fine folks. Absolutely. All right. I did want to go over this. There were several. I could name them. Uh, let's see. Where were they? I had a couple of them here. Uh, yeah. Okay, that's not the important thing. But there's like 10 or 15 top notch foreigner tribute bands. They have all kinds of names. For example, one of the tip top ones is from the West Coast. Head Games South Cal, South Cal. Head Games SoCal. All right, they let what they charge for their shows. All right, and this is where I'm going to leave this off tonight. They charge anywhere from $1,500 to $4,000 a gig. All right. Now, my band, when I finally just kind of, you know, this isn't working out for me, we were just getting to the point of being able to get our band to work into the $1,500 gig range, right? You get a couple of those, three or four of those a week. Yeah, you can make a living, right? With the right band. 4,000 is their top, and I would their top shows. So I would imagine that they make the circuit for those top shows. Do you know what? Another, in my opinion, only Michael, another tribute band that gets to call itself Foreigner makes because they have no more more pedigree with the exception of Lou Graham being the one thread holding him this year. I see that, babe. I'll get to that in just a minute.
No, no, it's just that Michael Boswell wanted you to know that he agrees that Foreigner is a tribute band.
Okay.
With Mick Jones' blessing.
Very good, Michael. Then you and I have very little. Yeah, I was just going over to this.
Oh, thank you so much,
Deuce gave us a $5 super thanks. He says White Monkey suggested doing a Joe Walsh James game stream. Yeah, sounds good to me. Let's rock. Power, power to my tribe. Love you all, my brothers and sisters. Deuce, thank you so much. I'll check that out. Yeah, it wouldn't be too much of a twist for Joe Walsh with me. He's one of my favorite guitar players for sure. I think a lot of you already know that. But guess what? The Foreigner tribute band, the one who gets to call themselves Foreigner, by the whim of Mick Jones, how much they make. Instead of, let's take the top amount.
John,
I see that, John. I'll get to you in a second.
Thank you so much.
Let's say that your top tribute band's making $4,000 a gig.
Oh.
Foreigner makes 300 to $500,000 a gig. That's $500,000. All based on a name alone. Show me their DNA. Show me the difference between the band Head Games and Foreigner, with the exception of a fingernail of now Lou Graham showing up for the show closer, right? And you can get either Lou Graham this year, you can either get Lou Graham singing for him, Kelly Hansen, or what's that, Geordie Brown from Canada, right? Or Luis Maldonado. They got four lead singers now. And only one of them has any DNA, and he's the only one in the band that does. All right, folks. God, it seemed like you just couldn't quite get your teeth into it tonight. I have 47 watching. Wonderful of you guys to stick with me. All right, please continue. Go to my channel page if you have to. Go to my featured channels. Royce is the first channel to be featured. Click on that. We're going to be talking about Black Sabbath next week. Don't forget, we're going to be talking about Black Sabbath right here the day after the Black Sabbath reunion. And I would urge each and every one of you that voted for it, Black Sabbath is dead. They're dead and gone. I don't want to see this concert. Think about the pedigree on this show alone. All right. And if it turns out to be a shit show, I'll be the first to let you know. All right. Okay. I'm Michael Noland. This is the bottom line. Tonight has been Forum number 47. Tribal forums are designed for me and you to talk in the real. I love tonight's show. I just feel like I only did three-quarters of a job, right? Okay. Final analysis. In my humble opinion, the current lineup of Foreigner, in my humble opinion, is not worth $500,000 a show, not based on just a name and a trademark. All right, folks, I'll see you in about, let's see, it's 6:16. That'll give me about 14 minutes to get on over there to Royce. Go on over to his channel. Royce in the house, right? He's my brother from another mother, and I'll be on right after this. I'm gonna, turn on the air conditioner. I have to shut all that shit down, right? So I'm gonna turn it on real quick, and then I'll join Royce right after. All right, folks. Thanks for and a big thank you for all of you. First of all, you viewers who stuck with me. You're the main reason I do this. For any thumbs up I got, I have 61. So we did get a bump up. All right. If we get 49, is it 39? 39 more. All right. On replay, if you're watching this on replay, consider giving it a thumbs up. All right. And don't forget, next Sunday, instant replay of the Black Sabbath reunion. All right, folks. I'll see you in a few minutes. Night.